Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's assembly, which today is about being grateful. Now, this is a lovely subject for an assembly. Essentially, it's a chance for me to read a massive thank you list, which is something that I very much like to do. Being grateful for anything, big or small, is something that hugely benefits our mental health. I'd love to challenge all of you to keep a gratefulness diary over the next 2 weeks. Each day, I want you to write down one thing that you have been grateful for, big or small, and I guarantee that this will make you feel positive about your life, positive about the now, and positive about what we do have. I'll share with you later on in this assembly some examples of the things that I have been grateful for. There's an awful lot currently happening, even in our temporarily new way of life, that I've recently been grateful for. I saw something last week on social media that woke me up to the idea that even as we adapt our way of life and feel that we are struggling a little bit, there's still much out there to be really thankful about, because very much has not been cancelled. Getting outdoors responsibility is not cancelled. Music is not cancelled. Family life is not cancelled. Reading is not cancelled. Singing is not cancelled. Laughing is not cancelled. And perhaps most importantly, having hope is not cancelled. So please, let's all embrace what we do have. I mentioned to you at the start of this assembly my massive thank you list. So I'm going to put a caveat in here. There are so many names that I could give you right now that I am grateful for, because so many people have done so much, not only to keep the good ship county afloat, but also to keep us sailing ever forwards, especially since we physically closed. But of course, in spirit, we're probably more open now than we ever have been. Anyway, there are so many names that rather than risk offending anyone by missing people off, let me genuinely thank every single member of their community for everything that you have been doing so far during the pandemic. I thank every student, I thank every parent and carer, I thank every governor, I thank every single member of our support staff team, and I thank every teacher. There's not one single member of our community who I'm not personally grateful to. Thank you. Let me now use this assembly to share some examples, some real specifics of the gratitude that I have recently been feeling. But remember my earlier caveat, I could not possibly thank every single person here by name. It's been a pleasure to watch all members of our community adapt to new ways of working. I actually feel truly blessed, I really do, to work at a school where people are so willing and so able to get on and to try new things. Thank you so much. Just before the Easter break, Mr. Dorr went out of his way to come into school and bag up all of our science department goggles and latex gloves so that we could donate them to the NHS PPE effort. Thank you. A small number of our students are now based with our deepest gratitude at Stoughton Infant School. I'm so grateful not only to them for hosting us, but also to Mrs. Bosco Reed, to Mrs. Whitehead and Mrs. Ford Divers for working behind the scenes to ensure that our army of staff volunteers and the students themselves are there and looked after every day. Thank you. Every Thursday for a number of weeks now, Mr. Houghton and his family have been at school to arrange for our weekly food drop to take place, and it was a pleasure to be there with them for that this morning. Thank you. We love seeing, normally, the children every day. But when that has not been possible, some of our team, led by Miss Cole, have been calling home to check in with you and to make sure that everything's okay. To all of those members of staff, and to all of you for receiving those calls and emails so politely, thank you. As a music college, it's been superb to have music remaining alive and well. Most notably recently, we've had some superb performances from the trombone choir, which I'm sure you've seen on social media. Thanks so much to Mrs. Gale's amazing music department, to the talented students, and especially to Mr. Gale and the trombones. Thank you. I must also thank our teachers for the tireless hours of lesson planning in new and innovative ways, led by Miss Bush. I must thank my leadership team for supporting our staff and for supporting me. I must thank our trust. I must thank our heads of department, led by Mr. Bond, for overseeing the complex process of exam grade entry that we're currently endeavouring to work through. I must thank Miss Cole and our Year 11 staff team, and Miss Nerton and our Year 13 staff team for supporting the students superbly well through what has been for them a very different and often challenging time. Thank you. More widely, away from county, I'm grateful for the scientific knowledge and understanding that we in the UK can call upon so freely as we search with great optimism for an end to the current crisis. Clinical trials begin this afternoon in Oxford for a vaccine that we all hope could eventually end the pandemic. Thank you. I am sure that all of us are grateful for the family, the friends and the loved ones that we're currently able to spend more time with than we normally might. I know that I certainly am, and to be with my own wife and children has been an amazing experience lately. Thank you. And now let me read you a poem about gratitude that I stumbled across last week, and I thought it would be a really neat way to round off this assembly. I am a gratitude monster, and I'm small as monsters go, but when it comes to finding blessings, there's something you must know. My eyes are round and big, and blessings I can see. If you'll help me look for blessings too, then grateful you will be. I've found that when I'm grateful, life doesn't seem so bad. Despite the trials and hard things, finding blessings makes me glad. So let us look together and count our blessings, you and I. And if we truly look, there are blessings we can spy. Some really nice thoughts there. And finally, I think, a reflection for the week that's ahead of us now. Today is the beginning of Ramadan, the holy fasting month for Muslims, which requires them to refrain from eating or drinking during the day and to focus instead upon family and upon prayer. During this unique time in our society, please spare a thought today for those who are going to be facing this new challenge in their lives. It's also a chance for us to reflect on our own lives, the challenges that we are facing, and the people who are there to support all of us. That closes off the assembly, but just before we go, a few notices from me. First of all, a reminder that the food drops for the Great County Food Drop will continue, and any food donations are gratefully received every Thursday morning at the front of school from 7:30 till 9:30. We look forward to seeing many of you there, and thanks so much to those who've so far donated. Please, students, feedback directly to teachers if you feel that you're getting too much or too little work to complete in the time that you have. We are keen to improve, and we won't think you're being cheeky if you politely offer us some feedback. So thanks in advance for doing that. You'll all be glad to know that the Sports Hall project continues to develop. We actually have now knocked through the walls from the Sports Hall into the Cobbett building, so no more going outside to get between the buildings in the winter months. Mr. Cheeseman will be in touch next week with a more full update on that project and a number of other site developments. Please take a look at the virtual trombone choir on YouTube and Instagram, and do follow us on these if you've yet to do so. They're often a great way to get in touch alongside, of course, our website. Have a lovely week, keep well, and goodbye.